So
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Behind the Golf Brand podcast. This week, I have my good friend Clay Hood, the co-founder and CEO of Precision Pro. Now, you guys probably know what Precision Pro is because they've been around for the last, I don't know, like what, probably 6 or 7 years, and they make some of the best rangefinders out there. I've reviewed pretty much all of them at this point, including their speakers. And I actually had Precision Pro like within the first 10 podcasts I ever did, and that was 3 years ago. So it's really cool to have Clay here because it wasn't Clay back then; it was somebody else. And so it's really cool to have like the actual co-founder and the whole story. And just kind of they've grown so much in the last 3 years, especially. So it's really cool to have them on the show. So welcome.
cool. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
So you guys are in Cincinnati, right?
We are Cincinnati, right in the Midwest.
Are you from Cincinnati? Did you grew up
I
there or
am
what?
from Kentucky, which is
Oh,
not far
cool.
from Cincinnati, right across the river. So I grew up about 4 hours away from Cincinnati, but I've kind of been all over the place since I left home, if you will. So yeah, Cincinnati was my kind of latest landing spot, and probably be my hopefully my last landing spot
Your forever landing spot, maybe until you retire.
until our 6-year-old is out of you know, is out of the house. So we still got a while.
You got 12 years.
Still got us,
you
yeah,
still, no,
still
you
got
still
some
got
time.
like 18 years, probably. Like, I mean, let's.
Yeah, it'll probably, yeah, he seems like he's only, so he'll probably be around for a while.
That's all right. I'm an only too, and I left. Like, I left Arizona and I went to Indiana. So
Oh,
that was an interesting, different place
nice,
than Arizona. They're like, why?
cool.
I remember the first winter. I was like, why am I here? I was like, why? Like, it was like you're like scooting, trying to walk to class. I'm like, I was back home. It was like 70 degrees out. Like, this is, and no wonder. So
Yeah, it's we got our kind of ups and downs on the Cincinnati weather. So winters are can be cold and harsh. Summers can be a little warm. So, but
like,
overall
right in
it's
the sweet
awesome.
spot.
Really, really like it
Yeah,
here.
it's
It's a
a
good
great
spot.
place. So, are you a golf pro?
I used to be a golf pro, so that was
I thought.
my before Precision Pro life. Yeah, right out of college, I got a job as a kind of a club pro, assistant pro at a club, and yeah,
Where
I
was
did
that
that
at?
for. My first job was in Lexington, Kentucky, a place called the University Club of Kentucky, and then moved to another course in another club in Lexington. A couple years after that. So yeah, that was my previous life.
So when, how'd you get into golf? Was it, like, your dad or your grandpa or your mom or who? How?
Yeah, it was interesting. My story a little bit different. Most people kind of pick golf up from their, parents or grandparents or, some kind of thing like that. Actually, my dad wanted to learn how to play golf when I was about 9 or 10, so we actually learned together. So we went for the first
Cool.
time. He took me to like this par three course, and we played for the first time together. I think my little brother went too, and he didn't kind of really stick with it, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot, and just kind of stuck with it. And my dad played it casually for a while, but wasn't great. But yeah, for some reason I really liked it, and just kind of ran with it. I like doing things, not on my own, but I like a good bit of alone time. So I kind of found solace in being able to like go to the golf course and hit balls for 8 9 hours when I was 15 years old, and not have to talk with anyone. So it
Were you,
was
like, just
a
naturally good? I mean, you
uh,
just, or you were just like, "Oh, I love this game because I can just do my own thing."
I wasn't bad. I mean, I played for a small college for a couple of years. I wasn't amazing. I played in high school and played in junior tournaments, and I could plenty of rounds where I shot under par. Was not gonna go to a major college or play professionally for a living, but I wasn't bad. And yeah, but I also liked it because it was kind of something you could do on your own. You didn't have to, you didn't really have a team outside, kind of the high school aspect. You could do your own thing. You could work as much as you wanted or as little as you wanted. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So did it a lot from the time that I was about, 12, 13, up until, yeah, I guess up until out of college. So that was what I did all the time.
So when you're like, where'd you go to college at?
I went to a small school. It was in Kentucky called St. Catherine's. It was a 2-year college, and I played golf there for a bit. And then, yeah, after that, I actually ended up going to school to be a golf pro at a place called the Golf Academy of America, where actually a lot of people went.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
have done that, and yeah, they had
Where's
several
that at?
different.
Not
What's
Florida?
that?
Where's that at?
It's in Florida. They had one.
I thought.
Excuse me. They had one in Arizona as well. They had a couple. They had like four. So yeah, I did that
Did.
after my kind of play golf in college experience, and yeah, it's like a 2-year thing. Kind of learn the business
They're
of
not
golf.
around. Are they still around or not really?
They are not. I think they actually got caught up
Out or
in. Yeah,
or
well, I think they got purchased by like one of the kind of online college things, and that one kind of went away. A lot of those kind of schools
when
went
all
away.
that
So
went away after the feds like clamped down and were like, oh yeah, sorry,
yeah,
no more free money.
yeah, I think that was something like that. So I don't know what years that happened,
Bro,
but
I went to law school. I know, like, honestly, like, I paid so much money in student loans, and it was like, in like 2010, like, you could, get money to go to college again, and it was, yeah,
yeah,
people don't realize that, like, you can still have to pay that back.
you do, yeah, and
It's
that
not free
was
money.
yeah. I was actually lucky. I think about to come out of school, being able to like get a job in a specific field, even though it wasn't it wasn't a job that paid a lot. But I didn't have a lot of, I had a little bit of student loans, but not like,
That's
not a
cool.
lot, not like, 4-year degree and going to law school, like not a ton of like, debt. But also had a kind of a specific thing I could do and get a job.
Dude,
Like,
I remember people in law school. I went to law school late, right? I was 30 when I went to law school, so I already had a career. I was working and I went to law school at night. So I remember, like, there would be younger people that were straight out of college, like going to law school, and they would use all their like money to like go party and like you get the max you could possibly get in student loans. And I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, like you're like they like $250,000 a year or $150,000 a year in money and like for loans and crap. I'm like, you are never gonna pay that back. Like, so you better enjoy that time because you'll never pay that back ever unless you make $1 billion.
it's tough, yeah. Later in life, yeah, the things you don't think about, like you do have to pay that back. So
Sorry, Joe Biden. Maybe you need to. Everyone says like, oh, we're gonna do the free student loan write-off stuff. I'm like, that's never gonna happen. Come on now, because there's a lot of money there. So you started teaching, and then how long were you teaching for?
I did that for, let's say like 10 years. I got, that was a good portion. I was in Lexington, Kentucky for several years, 3 or 4 years. And I got a job in Charlottesville, Virginia that I was there for a while, 5 or 6 years. And yeah, so probably from the time I was 21 until I was 30. Yeah, 31. I was doing the
Oh
kind of the
wow.
golf pro thing. Yeah, so I had a pretty good go at it. And I'd probably still be doing it if it wasn't for a couple kind of chance things. But yeah, it was good. A lot of work, but it was something I enjoyed.
Okay, so then how did Precision Pro start? I might have heard the story, but like, I want to hear from your words because you lived it.
Sure. So I would guess in 2012 or so, I would have been, so 2012. So I would have been 30, 31 or so, 30, 31, and was lived in Virginia, had a nice, golf pro job, after doing it for 9 or 10 years. I mean, the thing with like kind of, club pros is, if you don't know, it's just a lot of work. You're working weekends, you're working holidays, you're usually putting in a lot of hours. You're doing something you really like, but it can be a grind, especially in the busy seasons. And in some instances you can make good money, but a lot of times it's not amazing.
The
So
grind, right? It's just like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
and you
yeah,
have
it's
your schedules all over the place because you're like, oh, I need to make money, so I guess I'll work Sunday, right,
yeah,
or whatever it is. Like,
it can be hard. Yeah, like for me, my typical day off was usually like Monday, so that would be like a Monday off, in the summer. So yeah, just the lifestyle is different. So I was kind of, just getting a little, I guess, a little tired of it, and I was looking for something different. So I decided that I was going to move from Virginia to California, just to do like kind of lifestyle change, try something different.
a
Still
big
thought
change.
that I was young. So yeah, and
Where in California did you move to?
so I ended up moving to Los Angeles, like Santa Monica area, which is kind of over by the beach. Which is something, that I decided that I wanted to do. I'd saved up some money over the years, so I, kind of had basically my mind was like, I'm gonna, try to get another golf pro job. But I had enough money saved that I knew like if I didn't get a job right away, I would be okay for a while. I could kind of get by for a while. So got to California at the end of 2012, just kind of, getting things settled. Didn't get a job right away, and had a few, kind of, trying to figure out my next kind of steps. Like I knew that this was a possibility, and so trying to figure out the next steps, and ended up, had a couple ideas on some golf products. I'd never done a kind of business thing before, so had a couple of
Like
ideas
what?
on some stuff. A couple of golf training products, a couple of golf training aids.
That you invented? Like you're like, oh, I
Um,
could doing it, or like just
I
things you could sell.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say invented. They weren't super. I wouldn't call them like it was not like inventing the next airplane with these things. So, but I ended up meeting the person who's now my co-owner, my co-founder out in California. He had moved out there, for the same kind of thing, for kind of lifestyle stuff with his girlfriend at the time. Yeah, and we met randomly, one night, kind of just hanging out, actually hanging out at a bar, and just started chatting, and we ended up playing golf a few times, and he knew a little bit. He had a kind of had done a couple business things, so we ended up working on these training products a little bit. One of them was a golf mat that kind of showed you where you put your feet, and then kind of showed you where you put your ball. So it was like a little training thing for chipping and pitching. And we made this. No, we didn't make it well. We made several of them, and we actually sold a few, and we basically had enough success selling a few of those to be like, this is kind of fun, to make something and people like actually pay you for it. But we didn't sell enough of them that was going to be an actual business, and like that kind of product wasn't really going to be an actual business. You just couldn't sell enough of those things. So, um, and then we had an idea for a second product. It was a little putting aid to kind of help you set your wrists against kind of the putter, called the putter cube. It's kind of this little plastic block that kind of attached to your the grip of your putter, and it kind of created this little wedge between your wrist and the putter, and kind of kept your hand solid. So we did that as well. We sold that for like $20, and again with that one, it was like, this is a fun little thing. And we could go to a golf show, like an outdoor golf show, and they have several of those like over kind of LA, San Diego, Arizona, Las Vegas. We go to those, and we could sell like 50 of them in a day at a golf show. Like, this is kind of cool. We had a harder time though selling them online. But that was kind of the same thing added in with the golf mat. It's like, this is fun to see that we can make something and people will buy it from us. But these two things probably aren't going to be a business. It's going to actually like
A hobby.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
like
yeah, they're not going to
I
be a
mean,
viable business. Yeah, and
yeah.
I think that's probably the thing that a lot of people get maybe hung up on when they try something new like that, an invention or kind of thing like that, is like they think that this is it's like the expectation, like, all right, if you're selling something for $20, all right, well, you need to sell hundreds of
A
thousands of those
million
to
of them.
yeah
Yeah,
to
like
get to get
and your marketing's gonna cost you 19. So like,
yeah,
it's like you're gonna be losing $4 a unit.
yeah. So so that's kind of how we got started. That was back in 2013,
So how are you
2014.
selling them? Like going to like just like like golf trade show ish, whatever you call it, and going to pro shops and going like door to door almost in that way, or did you have a
We did
website, or what were you doing?
we had a website. We'd sold them online. So we'd sold our golf mat and our little putter and putting thing online, and we tried some of the normal stuff you see nowadays, some some Facebook ads, some Google ads, some kind of like emails and things like that. And we sold some. We
Yeah.
had better luck. Like, we'd go to like the kind of the outdoor or the consumer golf shows, and we had better luck selling those there because you could kind of demonstrate them to people in person. They could kind of
That's
see
the
the
hard
benefit.
part, right? With a training aid, it's
Mhm.
like you have to show them how it works, and there's a
Yeah,
learning curve, whatever that is, for whatever the product is, and it's like, how do you
yeah.
show that?
Yeah, no, it is hard. So yeah, you could do that better in person. So, but that doesn't really scale very well. So like, you go to a show where cost $1,000 for booth, and maybe sell 100 of those things over a couple of days. Like, all right, well, we made some money, but we didn't actually, in the end, we didn't actually make a lot. So, yeah, but that
You're
whole
like, it's
thing
good
just kind of
marketing though. It's gonna pay off because people are gonna see it and they're gonna buy more. That's probably tell yourself, right?
maybe, yeah. I don't think at that point I had a super like kind of plan on kind of exactly what was going to do
Were you
happen.
still
So
working? Like, were you teaching or no? You're just only doing the training aid stuff
I was
during that
I was
time.
only doing that. I was only doing that at the time. So yeah, and we did those things pretty, I think, quickly. Those things were pretty easy to kind of bring along, and over the course of kind of a year. So but basically what that did, it just kind of got, for me, it got me interested to say like, this is exciting when you make something, you can sell it and people actually pay you for it. All right, can we find something that we could actually turn into an actual, business? And I think that kind of the thing I personally learned there was, it's hard when you're inventing something new. There's probably, there's not always something, people gravitate towards things they've seen and they know how they work. And, anytime there's something new, it's just a huge hurdle to kind of, get that, to go kind of to the mass market. So you can have some success, you can sell a few, but if you're not selling something that people buy all the time or need, golf balls, golf clubs, shoes, or, apparel, stuff like that, like I think it's going to be challenging unless you do have some kind of a, bigger budget where you can go out and really, or take the time to make that, mainstream. So those things have happened, but they're just tough. So, but yeah, basically got kind of interested. And so we were kind of, as we're doing this, we're like, all right, well, this is, we're making a little bit on these products. What can we do to make this into a real business? Are there other products we can do? Can we, kind of try something different? So we're just kind of looking at a couple categories. I mean, our passion was around golf. I was a golf pro. My partner, he's a golfer, interested in that. So that was kind of like, our kind of playground we wanted to play in. We wanted to be in golf if we could. So we're just trying to figure out like, all right, what can we do? What other products can we do? So we're just kind of looking, going to stores, looking at trying to figure all this stuff out. And at the time, rangefinders were, I won't say they were a new product, but not many people had them. This is 2014, kind of going into.
Well, they were super expensive too, weren't they? Like if you had one, it was like a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
It was almost like a luxury. Or you.
It was more, yeah. There was a few things. One, it was really expensive. There were only a couple brands at the time, so about the minimum you could be at would be like $300. So like if you wanted to be, you just didn't have a lot of options below $300. So that was kind of one thing. Second thing, at the time, it was actually technically illegal to use a rangefinder and post a handicap score. So I know a lot of people aren't like
Didn't know that.
really into that. Yeah, you couldn't use a rangefinder and supposedly and post a handicap score. So that changed a few years later. I'm not exactly sure what year that changed, but a lot of people aren't into that. They don't care. So the big things were they were expensive, and then the other big thing was they just weren't great. They weren't easy to use. Like if you ever back in 2013, 2014, if you tried to a lot of people struggle with rangefinders with kind of shaky hands and just like missing the flag, and just they were difficult to use.
And the lock on, right? Locking on the flag. It's like, then they just end up shooting the ground.
Hard to lock on the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over the, from then till now, like the technology's become better and it's just become much easier. Like our products now are just like, it's hard to miss the flag. It's like pretty, simple. You may occasionally like miss one, you just shoot it again. And it's like, it's just freaking easy. So there were a few things that were kind of pushing, against back then. And you saw a lot of more people using kind of like GPS things. You kind of had some other, like the Sky Caddies were more in kind of their heyday back then, and some of the GPS devices were a little bit bigger. So, so we were like, all right, this looks like an interesting category. Like, in our kind of idea was, is there any way we could have a rangefinder that sold for $200 instead of, be $100 cheaper than the main players, main competition? So basically we started working with some suppliers overseas and just testing a bunch of samples and trying some stuff out and found something that we thought was, could be okay. We came up with a brand name, and basically our kind of idea was like, we could test this and try it out. So what we did is we worked with a supplier, came up with a product. They let us, order not a big number, probably 300 of those to start.
That's not bad.
We did this, and basically what's that?
That's not a bad initial order. I mean, I know they're expensive, right? It's not like a cheap unit, but it's still like not 3,000, right? And be like, well,
yeah, that would be a lot. So basically, the way we kind of tried it out, this back in mid 2014 was like we had this. So we had a product. We thought, like, this is decent. We can we're using it, and like this isn't the worst product we've ever seen. We think we could sell this for $200. So we called up a bunch of golf courses and golf shops and said, hey, we've got our name, our company's Precision Pro. We're just kind of getting started. We've got this rangefinder that we retails for $200. Like, would you be interested in carrying it in your golf shop? And in the first, I guess, 3 to 4 weeks, we actually had retailers commit to buy all those. They said, yeah, we'll bring that in. Like, we'll give it a try. We had probably the biggest order would have been like probably 10 or 15 from maybe a website. A lot of smaller orders, a lot of customers are like, yeah, we'll buy one or two and just see how, make sure that it works well. So yeah, well, we basically got people to commit to buy all those products in the first kind of,
First
3 or 4
month.
weeks. Yeah. And
Because there was
the
nobody else
products
like
came,
that, right? Because there was no one selling an affordable launch or affordable
yeah.
rangefinder that was
No,
decent.
there was no one, there was no product at that price point. So that's what they were kind of interested in. So yeah,
Yeah.
then we, the product came in, we got the products in, we shipped them out, and
You
people
sold
got
out
them.
of the
And
initial 300 within a month.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, just to selling them to retailers, like basically selling them to,
At Keystone
yeah,
or whatever, and be like, oh,
yeah,
here's the price.
to
Yeah.
just, different golf shops. So yeah, we sold in the first, they didn't necessarily all sell to consumers in the first month, but they sold to retailers. So
Nice.
so basically we then said, all right, this seems pretty good. People were interested. All right, we'll see how over the next several weeks, like, do they actually sell them in their shops? And yeah, that was kind of the cycle, and that got us going. So next month we ordered more.
What was the name of that model?
Name of the
What was the
model. It
name
was
of
our
that?
first product, was called the V400. So it's not even on our website anymore.
No, I was
It's
just wondering what it was called.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I know most of your models, like, but I don't know the early ones.
yeah. I mean, it was all pretty, pretty kind of generic name. Like, our whole goal was to, like, just to try this out and see, like, can this be an actual thing. So
Yeah, they're real
um,
business. Is it like, are we gonna buy 300? Like, is it gonna work? Are people gonna buy it? And you're like, oh crap. Okay, cool. Let's
yeah,
do more.
yeah. So basically, we kept calling people. We kept, selling them. We bring more in next month, and we did pretty well. And so 2014, I think we had probably 5 months of business. Like, kind of second half of the year is kind of what we're in business. So 2015 was our first full year. And yeah, in our first full year, we were pretty, I guess, successful. I mean, we grew the company quite a bit. We found people, like, that price point was still, um, was still viable. We did know at the time that, like, hey, this, anyone else can probably have a product at this price too. So, like, if we're gonna have sustained success, like, we need to, do things differently. Do different things and do them pretty quickly. So that was kind of like the how we got
Yeah, someone's
going.
gonna
So
copy us. It's not gonna take long for someone copies us, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So basically,
Supply
yeah,
it, and then they call it something else, and then it's same price point or something similar.
yeah. Yeah, and then, and there were a few things kind of in the start. Like, we basically, like, we're like, all right, we have a better price point. We have that. So what else can we do? So we kind of honed in on customer service. So some of the, some
Oh,
of the
it's true.
bigger,
That's right. Yeah, as you guys are known
some of the
for.
bigger brands, like, had a reputation for just not being very easy to work with. If something went wrong, or, and the truth is, like, these products from any brand are pretty fragile. If you drop one, sometimes they can just, you drop it on the cart path, run over the golf cart, like, they can break, and people lose them. And they're a delicate, they can be a delicate product that's expensive. So just a lot of people lose them and things like that. So basically what we said is, like, all right, if anyone has an issue with the product, like if it doesn't work, if they break it or something, we're just going to send them another one, and we'll get back the other one, and we'll try to, we'll deal with that on our end. Whereas some of the other companies were like, all right, well, since we're one
Big
of the
deal,
only
man. That's a big.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like, you're saying, hey, if you break a $200 product, you can send it back to us. We'll give you a return. Like, people, like, it's instant. I mean, no one does that, right? So it's like,
yeah, it was not happening at the time. So yeah, the other companies they had this kind of weird, and not weird, it's just a pain in the ass process where, if you had an issue, even if it was under warranty,
corporate. It was a corporate process, right? Like, it was,
yeah, you'd have to basically, mail the product to them. They would say, they would specify that, it's gonna take us about 2 to 3 months to look at this thing.
yeah, golf
And then
season's
they would
over. We'll give it
actually,
to you around Christmas time. And you send
yeah,
to them
then
in
they would
April.
actually request, they wouldn't, I guess they would require that you actually put a check in the box for $20 to pay for the shipping back to you. Like, that's the ultimate, like, ultimate dick move, like,
Insult.
that I've ever heard of
Yeah, seriously. Like,
from a company.
you,
So
I mean,
yeah,
you had no choice, right? I mean, we've all broke stuff. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah, you got to put a check in to pay for the shipping back. So
didn't you guys give away free batteries too?
we did not do that from the beginning. We started that later on. In
I know you did. So I know you know. I remember. I know you guys do that, which I think is smart too. It's like, what a way of, like, creating brand loyalty, right? And honestly,
it is good. Our product, rangefinders, if you don't lose one or you don't have an issue, it's like not something you're buying you're not buying a new one every year. Maybe it's every 3 or 4 years, depends. And sometimes these things last 6, 7 years. So depending on, I see people use the ones that look like they're old beat up used car, but they're still working and they're 6, 7 years old. So yeah, it's for us, it's like a way to just try to like, when someone does, want to come back and, do a replacement that, can we be top of mind and, be kind of choice one if, to continue on with us. So it's
Especially
something
now, right? There's like so many brands now that are
yeah,
competing with you.
yeah.
Not
So
like, yeah.
yeah, so it was a good thing from the for us from the beginning was to kind of hone in on that. So yeah, in the beginning for the first, I guess, kind of really year and a half, 2 years, like we really focused most of our efforts on the kind of the retail business. Like we were selling stuff to retailers, golf courses, pro
What year
shops,
is
some
this? Like
online
15, 16?
15 and 16, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of how I got started, was just sort of, we're trying to sell stuff to retailers, and that it's interesting.
So how do
That's
you like? So if somebody was like, let me ask this question: like, if you're a new product, whatever it is now, like, how hard is it to go to retailers or to go to like? Do you have to go like door to door? I mean,
mm,
essentially, right? Shop to shop, call them. I mean, is that how you had to do it back then? I mean, now it's probably a little bit different. But I mean, like, what does somebody do?
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's how we did it back then. We eventually started to bring on like salespeople in different locations. Like
Yeah,
there's like
like
a kind
independent
of
sales reps and stuff, or
independent,
internal.
yeah, independent sales reps. There's like a network of people who carry a variety of brands out there, so who have relationships with courses and shops and things like that. So yeah, I would think like nowadays it's a little it's a little different. One thing being that most product categories have kind of been filled up to where there's like not that low hanging fruit where you can just get started with like a better price point. So like pretty much every product categories has other brands that have filled those gaps. So like if you're going to retailers with something new now, it's got to be very unique and different. So you're not probably going to have luck just by making a cheaper golf ball or cheaper, a cheaper bag, or
Yeah,
those things have been filled by the other,
I was
by the
told I was talking to a friend of mine who's a CEO of a brand, and he's like, don't ever base anything on price. Like it's a race to the bottom, right? Like essentially, it's like know your price and just stick with it and be like, that's what it's worth. That's what I
Mhm.
mean.
Yeah, it's tough if you're only competing on price, and that was kind of one of our things when we started, and we don't really do that as much anymore. Price is still important, but like
No,
we're
you
not
guys
like
evolved a lot, dude, especially in the last 3 years. Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
we
fascinating.
we have, because we feel like we've had to. So um retail a little bit different nowadays too. Back 8 years ago, there were more like independent golf shops that you could just call the owner and like they could bring stuff in, and you've seen not all of them, but a lot of those go away or be acquired by like bigger
Gobbled up,
shops.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
so you
I mean,
know
there's some pretty big. I learned a lot in the last year. Like, there's some very big golf. I'm not gonna name who they are. You probably know who they are. Like, they've been like bought out this year, and I was like, "Are you serious? I didn't even know
mhm,
that." Like, big,
yeah.
big, big.
Yeah, there's some that are, you've got a couple different kind of layers. You've got the biggest stores, the Dick's Sporting Goods that owns Golf Galaxy, like
Yeah,
that's the biggest. And you got like your PGA Superstores, and out there you
yeah.
guys have got your kind of
Then you
Roger
draw your big
Dunn.
online retailer, right? Like
Mhm.
all the,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
worldwide and the global and the yeah.
And a lot of those things are kind of all owned by, they're kind of consolidated. So there's, kind of more under one kind of thing. So and then you've got some
Crazy,
regional,
isn't it crazy? It's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah. And I think that's kind of like that's just the general sense of like, I think retail in general, right? You don't see as many small independent stores now. You just see more, big stores, even to the point of like, obviously the Walmarts and the Targets are the biggest, but yeah, you're good. There's just going to be consolidation along the way to where, because the bigger stores can just compete better. They have more
Compete.
stuff.
They can
Yeah.
compete.
They have
Yeah.
better,
They have the
in
budget.
golf, you don't really have better prices, aren't really a thing because everyone kind of sells like brands at a similar price, but they can just have more, buying power. So yeah, it's just easier for them to compete. So yeah, and then you've got some like regional retailers. There's probably a handful of stores around the country that have like 5, 6 locations in a region. You've got some in Seattle. You've actually got one here in Cincinnati that we're good friends with. Some up in the Boston area. Those kind of, you see those kind of like kind of scattered throughout. There's in the Dakotas and stuff. So yeah, so it's either big or regional, and then you still got a few independent, one-off shops, just not that many. It's
Not as
just
many.
it's a harder, yeah, it's just a harder game to play.
It's hard
So,
for them to compete. That's the thing, right? So they just
yeah,
die off or get bought out. I mean,
yeah. So like the ones like, here in Cincinnati, we've got a store called the Golf Exchange, and we're friends with them. They've got like 6 locations, and they really compete hard on product knowledge and custom fitting. They're really good at fitting, so can't get that at probably they do a better job than you can get fit at it, maybe like a Dick's or something. So that's where they pride themselves, and they've done really well with that. So on the kind of fitting aspect. So yeah, and then you got your golf courses, and that's the place where like there are probably not any fewer golf courses, but those are harder to work with because there's let's say there's 5,000 golf courses. Well, you're gonna call every single one of them and try to get in there. So you can get, like, we work with a lot of golf courses, but like that one is a very much a fragmented thing where it's difficult to get into a lot
people
of
buy rangefinders at golf courses. I mean, honestly, like I don't know if they do.
They
They
do.
might.
I mean, it's still a pretty
I
good,
mean,
yeah, pretty good business for
yeah.
us. I mean, it depends on you've got
We
a
also have
variety.
the custom stuff too, which I probably let you know
Yeah,
what I'm
I mean, you
doing.
got a variety of different like things. You got anywhere from like your local public course or municipal course where they're probably not carrying that kind of stuff or a lot of merchandise, all the way up to
The resorts.
higher end private clubs or resorts.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there's a lot of consolidation on that too, right? I mean, there's like groups that own 100 courses or
that's
500
true. Yeah,
courses or manage them, like a Troon, or like, you know what I mean? So it's like you go to the
Mhm.
source, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they, yeah.
That is, no, that's definitely true. There is consolidation across all the lines there. So,
Everywhere. There's consolidation everywhere, dude. That's just how
yeah,
it is.
yeah. So that was kind of retail and how we got going. And then
So what was the next model? Was it the NX7?
so we had our first one was the V400, and then in early 2016. So basically, our idea was like all right, we've proven out that like this price point's good, the service thing is working, people are buying this product. All right, we got a business here. All right, well, now we need to what's kind of next evolution. All right, we need to make our own products and like make them better, look different. So we kind of did this kind of rebranding, like new logo, new website, just like we added in this kind of cool green color, and then we came up with our own designed first product. It was called the Nexus, and that came out in 2016. It was our first product that had like that green faceplate and a green carrying case.
Now you sort of brand it like, oh, that's a Precision Pro rangefinder. Like it's
yeah, we're starting to now create a brand and some recognition. And in 2016 we were still kind of focused on the retail business, and we saw things kind of flatten out a little bit. It's that the retail stuff is just hard to it was hard to it became harder to grow, and secondly it was like, all right, we just have one product, like we literally just
why
have
is that
one range.
Why do you think that is? Like, why is it harder? They only order so many, right? And it's like, okay, here's their price. They're not gonna order. They're gonna order once a year, so many units for all their stores. So it's like you can't, right? Is that why? I'm assuming. I have no idea.
A little bit. I mean, I think the thing was at the time we weren't dealing with the larger stores, like, or we were trying to, but they weren't taking us in, like the the Dick's Sporting Goods and the big stores. Like they weren't willing to try our products. So we're working with the smaller, more independent retailers in the golf shops.
I see. Yeah, because they're like, no, we carry Garmin and Bushnell and the big boys. Right?
Yeah, and we kind of picked a lot of those off at the time, and you kind of run out of like, hey, we're in.
You run out of people. You run out of companies.
Half the shop, so you run out of people, and and then that just became harder. And plus, we just had you got one product. Like not a lot of customers want to work with a brand that usually just has one product. Like you need a little bit more.
You got to evolve.
Evolve. So. So basically that was 2016, and things had started to we were still growing a little bit, but not at the rate that we maybe had hoped for. And then, so 2017 we worked on another new product, and that was the NX7. So we had our first slope products. We had the NX7 Pro and the NX7. We continued the Nexus product and kind of dropped the price down. And it was really a couple things, I think, in 2017 is when we really started to kind of take off and do good things. We basically introduced those new products that were really good. We're still really good. We had a slope product at $250 at that time. $400 was the standard. So, and and basically we we're able to take that to retailers. They still like that, but we also figured out the online play more at that time. So that's when we started to really figure out Amazon and kind of our selling on our website. So that was kind of a priority 2017 as we went forward, was really figuring out the online play. So Amazon was starting to Amazon had already taken off. It was starting to kind of become more of a space in the golf stuff. So yeah, that's when we really started to kind of move the brand forward from a revenue standpoint. It was figuring out Amazon, figuring out website, and then kind of just adding that with our retail business.
Well, Amazon's tough too, right? Because they take like 30%, and you
Uh,
gotta
it can be. It just depends on
it's
it depends
volume and
on
you do an
depends on a lot
FBA,
of.
right? I'm assuming like you weren't, or you shipping it out from your facility.
No, we do the FEA where you basically just
Yeah.
you go on Amazon, customer buys it and Amazon ships it. So yeah, it makes it pretty easy. And Amazon is a good spot for kind of things like golf range finders because they're pretty simple to buy and ship, and people like the trust of that. So yeah, once we figured that out in 2017, we really things started to kind of take off, and I think we just kind of doubled the size of the business that year, and then that was basically our Precision Pro starting to become a real company. I think it
Mainstream.
yeah,
Yeah,
if not
like you evolved outside of what you
yeah.
were. I mean, your main because
Yeah.
now you got a bigger audience too, right? It's through the Amazon. It's like everyone starts seeing it more than just the
Mhm.
local place.
Yeah.
Um,
So it
right now, is the majority? Where's the majority of your sales come from? Then is it from online or is it from retail? By online, right?
between Amazon, what we sell on our website, and then retailers. So our retail business has grown. We were in most of the larger stores now. Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf
Oh yeah, for
Galaxy,
sure.
all the
You're
the worldwide
everywhere,
golf
dude.
shops. Yeah,
You're Precision Pro.
and there's some that we're not. Some that there's a few that we're not in, but we like to be. But we're still working on that. So yeah, I'd say we're pretty. We're more of like an evenly split thing now. We're kind of retail, direct on the website, and Amazon. So yeah, that's like constant kind of strategic thing is like how do you evolve and how do you don't ideally you don't want one of those places to be to be too much of the business. You don't want like one customer to be too much of the business. So we're pretty spread across like those channels. So like we don't have like Amazon. If you looked at one, they're not really a customer necessarily the way we sell, but that's got our biggest spot. But we're actively growing other channels and other spots that kind of pull eats into that. So it's been a pretty kind of purposeful thing to try to really spread that business out across a variety of different areas.
So, all right. So then you went NX7, then NX9, right? That was the
Mhm.
next iteration.
Yeah, we had 2018 and 2019, we kind of continued with the NX7s, and we really grew a lot with those. It was kind of end of 2019, early 2020, we came out with the NX9 line. That was our first product we had that had a magnet. So that was kind of the addition there. Yeah, and then COVID happened, and that was that was interesting. That was actually really good thing for golf in general. Just a lot more people played golf. So you had a couple years there of kind of just increased demand. Just I think if you were in golf at that time, like you probably just things went better than they would have if that hadn't happened for golf. So it turned out to be a pretty good thing.
So then when I kind of remember, I think when you guys were on a long, long time ago, I remember them saying you guys had bought the printer and they were talking about printing stuff at the time. And I was like, oh, they're like, oh, this would be really, really cool. Right. What you guys were working on back then. Right. So when did you guys decide to start doing like the customization and like when you, was that with the release of the NX10? Or you already kind of practicing, I guess, with the NX9 and then you developed the NX10 so it was more customizable?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been I mean, I guess ever since we kind of got past our first year, I've always been just thinking about new product ideas and trying to innovate and like, because we do know that like if just selling it, so like where we are now, like we're actually on the expensive side. We're still a good bit cheaper than like the biggest brand, but we're more expensive than almost every other brand. So for us, it's like, how do we continue to innovate and how do we do things that are different, and so that we're not competing on price, which I think we've done pretty well. So yeah, when we had the NX9s, like we basically were working on this idea. We bought this engraver that we're gonna either do it for free or charge people for it, that we would engrave your name,
their name, right, or a logo or something.
Yeah. And we basically, what we saw was like, you get in the rangefinder business, you get products back. Someone breaks it, drops it, whatever, you get stuff back. We're just noticing like a lot of people are taking a magic marker and writing their name on the rangefinder, putting their phone number on it. Like, that looks terrible. Like, that is not, I'm someone who's very neat and tidy and likes things to look good. And like, that is not a good look when you just write your name on
Sharpie, right?
Yeah. So,
Clay.
Yeah.
Call it floss.
Yeah. Like, could we create some kind of position around this, doing this? And yeah, so we got this engraver. We tried that for a while. It became difficult just because it was like, it just became
a pain in the ass, right? Because you have to engrave one by one as an engraver, and like it's a whole process.
Yeah, it was hard operationally just because we would, sometimes we try, do it as a like bonus during instead of doing a sale or something. Sometimes we would charge for it, but yeah, we just couldn't keep up with it. It's like it
never ended, right?
It took 25, 30
a lot of
minutes
time to do one, and then 100 or 200 to do. It's like, oh my God, I gotta get a full-time employee doing this all day long.
Yeah. So basically, so we really like that. I still like that. It's just kind of, can you make it really, work at any kind of?
Anyway, it's like a really good idea. It's like, how do we execute it so it's more efficient, right? Like, that's what it came down to.
Mm-hmm. And it would have just been basically more kind of intensive with people and stuff. So we kind of had to scale that down a little bit. So at the same time, kind of working on new ideas and looking at, kind of the idea for the NX10 came from like the idea of like phone cases. Like, all right, you've got these, Apple phones that are, beautifully designed, really good looking. I personally, like, I'm one of the only people I know, I don't have a phone case, and everyone's like, how do you not break your phone? I just say, well, I don't drop it. Like, if you don't drop it, it won't break. So, but everyone else has these like phone cases, and like, all,
look like shit half the time. They're like, $6 on Amazon or something. And it like looks like, oh, but it protects it. It's like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah. Protects it, and some of them look good, and you even got ones that are expensive. You got
I think some really fancy ones too.
$150. You buy ones that are co-branded, they're even more. So it's basically like, how can we let people kind of customize their design, their style? So that was the idea. The execution was much harder because it was like, all right, well, we've got this idea, but how do you do this? So like, we've got really good product designers here. So it's, just fun fact, the University of Cincinnati has like one of the best in the country, probably top 2 industrial design programs in the entire country. So we've actually had a couple designers come from that. So in our designer right now, his name's Gannon. He came from that. He designed the NX10. So basically he's got a 3D printer, and he probably 3D printed 200 different designs, trying to figure out how do we make this thing work and customizable. And basically finally figured it out. And now you can see that the NX10's got kind of this side plate kind of thing that we can design and make different and look cool. And yeah, you can swap them out. You can like pull them off and swap them out on the product. And as simple as that design looks, is actually just, from an engineering standpoint, was really long and hard. It's magnets. It was a lot of, just because it's a really odd shaped kind of little fin thing there. The front plate kind of screws out, and you can change that out as well. So yeah, it was cool. It was a fun project. But it took a lot of time to get it figured out. It probably took 18 months or so. Yeah, and we came out with that product in mid 2022. So, and that's our best product, one, from just the standpoint of like customization. It's like really interesting. It's really cool. Secondly, just the quality is like the best one we've ever put out. Immediately when you pick it up, it's like, this thing's a beast.
Oh yeah, it's really nice.
This thing is like, first class. The design is very simple.
So both these, but this is, so like on the NX10, then like this is both interchangeable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically for any of the products, like, you can just pull the little side plate off. You can put a new one on. The front plate, actually, there's little screws, and you actually get a hex wrench with it, and you can screw those off, and changes the changes the color.
What's your most popular design?
Ooh, the most popular? I would say, well, the just straight black and white is the default, and that's the most popular. Second most popular is the American flag, so the one that's first there. That is
That's
like
cool.
the second most popular. And then past that, it's like it's interesting enough. Like there's not a ton of like all those designs get chosen quite a bit, but like there's no
Yeah,
like
there's
super,
no like
super,
there's like only certain ones that are like black and
yeah,
white people like, and then
yeah.
well that the
There's like
black and white is just the standard, right? Like this
that's
one.
just a standard. Like
Yeah,
yeah, if you
standard.
click on that's just like the default. So like if you go to a store, that's what's in the store is black and white because you can't really have all the different designs in a
Oh, I was on the
store.
wrong
So,
page. I see.
no, that's right. So
Brilliant.
yeah, that's the one people choose the most.
Yeah. And it just
Um,
pops on, pops off. The clip, the piece
yep.
does, which is cool. And then if they
Yep.
want, they can screw and they can change out the front, right? The front.
Change out the front. Yep. And yeah, and we've actually seen, we see most people. I want to say most people choose a design. Like we probably, let's say 25-30% they choose a black one, but the rest of the people choose some kind of design. They're all the
Yeah.
same price.
Which is
And
cool because you're not upcharging them. Like, oh yeah, you want that for $20? Because people are like, screw that. It's
yeah,
like, you get to pick the one right now you want. All right, I want those. This one right
yeah,
here, and then
pick
they
one
can
you
just
want.
go with
And
it.
we occasionally come out with new designs, and we'll send out emails and stuff. And we actually see people that are are buying those. Like we actually have quite a few people who are coming back and buying different
Plates.
different plates, skins and stuff for their products. So yeah, it's been really fun. So that's kind of our next evolution of how
It's on
we
sale right now. Look at that.
personalize. Yeah, we started our holiday sale today.
Yeah, I'm like, I know the prices. I'm like, oh, it's on sale. Look at that. So when did you start like working with like No Laying Up and John Daly and everybody? Like, how did that come about? Like down
Sure.
here.
We've done several different partnerships. I mean, we've been working with No Lane Up since I think we started like late 2019, so several years with them, and we've done a lot of fun things with them. It was just with the NX10 that we started to kind of do some co-branded skin stuff, kind of type things, some products there. Yeah, so that's been a fun partnership. Really good guys. And then John Daly, we started working with him this year. He somehow he had years ago had our NX7, our very first NX7 product. Like he showed up in a video with like on his bag, and I think
you're like, what the what? You're like, oh, we gotta talk to him.
Yeah, my partner who does all our sales stuff, he somehow got in touch with him, and like, yeah, we sent him products since, and yeah, when we came out with the NX10, we're like, we got in touch with him like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? So we've got some kind of designs. We're out of a few of them right now, but yeah, it's been a fun thing with him.
Wow.
We did some photo shoot. If you go to if you just go to rangefinder, just click on rangefinders there on the top. You'll see we're actually getting kind of restocked on this. Scroll down like that. Those are the designs. We're actually out of several of them right now. So, but we're getting more. That's the only one we have at the moment.
That Daily one looks cool, like a beer looking thing. That looks cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
Sold out of the rest, but we're getting them back in. Yeah, so it's just been a fun thing where we've gone and done some photo shoots with him. He's a really nice guy. We've kind of put his face on a few things, and yeah, it's been a nice fun partnership. So people like to comment on those when they're on a Facebook post.
If people, so like, I mean, you guys do customs too? Oh, you do, duh, right there, custom skins, right? So people could actually, but can people actually like come to you guys and say, hey, we want to do for a golf tournament, we want to do 100 NX10s? Like, would you guys customize the plate, or is that usually something you guys do, or no?
We do, yeah. We would definitely customize the plate. So we have had that happen quite a bit. It's been a nice thing for us.
Yeah,
so,
I assume so.
Yeah, we've had several different big events that we can customize these and have your logo on it. So,
but they're not being customized in Cincinnati, right? Like you can order them.
No, so we
customizing in Cincinnati.
Yeah, so like what we do is we will have to order them from our supplier.
Yeah, you design it and then you order it.
Yeah, we do have a thing we do for like one-offs for like sometimes we get kind of contacted by when people are and we'll kind of do some one-off stuff, and that's something we do actually do in Cincinnati, and it's it's more of like kind of a wrap that we put on that. So, but we don't sell those. We do those as kind of
Yeah,
like
it's one-off
kind of
that
things, like
person or event.
yeah, example, like we were, I don't know exactly how it came out. Like, we had like a famous musician, like he somehow contact us, or he contacted him, and like, yeah, we'll send you a rangefinder. We put like his logo on it, and
Yeah, make it look
so,
cool. Not
just kind
buy
of did
100
like,
of them.
yeah, did that like one off.
So when did you come up with this doing speakers? Because the Duo
So
came out
speak,
too.
Yeah, so speakers, we started with that back kind of late 2021, early 2022. We had our kind of our
Ace.
Ace,
Yeah.
our Ace speaker. It's got a screen on it, so it's basically a speaker that also does golf distances. So, really good sound. It's got a magnet. You stick it on the cart. It shows you right there, kind of in your face. It's got front, center, back distances. So yeah, we started with that late 2021. And then the Duo product we came out with this year, I think it was May this year, and that's just a smaller speaker that you can put on your bag or put on your cart.
That's smart.
It still does the golf. It'll kind of read the golf distances to you, but it doesn't have a screen. So, yeah, it's just and it's
But you also
actually
did
kind of,
this, which was smart too, because now they can customize their
Mhm.
face on their
Yeah,
speaker.
it's like the NX10, where you can kind of, they actually swap out, so you could change it, if you wanted to. So yeah, face kind of pops out, and you can add a new design to it. So yeah, it's just been a fun product
That's so
for us, and
cool.
that product was all about just kind of like, something fun, nice small speaker,
I
put
mean,
on your
you're
bag.
evolving. It's like you started with rangefinders, and then it's like, okay, you've evolved the rangefinder more and more and more, and then you have the
Mhm.
NX10. Now you can customize the rangefinder, which nobody was doing, right? And then now
Yeah.
you went to speakers, and there's only so many people doing speakers. Like no one was doing speakers like 4 years ago, And then what the
Mhm.
Wingman came out, and then like,
Yeah, they're
oh,
gonna.
speakers are cool, or people would get like whatever the JBL, whatever. That's not a golf specific speaker.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
just kind of fun product evolution. Yeah, we're trying to expand. Like, we've got some new accessories now. We got carrying cases that are different designs. We get some kind of nicer ones of those. So yeah, just trying to kind of continue to do new stuff and kind of have it be fun, and hopefully make things people like.
No, it's really cool. I mean, it's cool to like see. So like, what's happening the next like couple months for you guys? Is are you coming out with new stuff maybe or not, or what are you doing?
Not right. So right now, like, kind of the holiday shopping season is starting now. So
Yeah.
our holiday sales starting today. You got a few weeks, like kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. For consumer brands, it's a big time. So like, you can imagine golf as a seasonality, like kind of October and beginning of November, slower. Weather's getting colder in the Midwest and the North. Football's starting, but so it'll be a slower time, and then it'll start to pick back up with holiday sales, people buying stuff for the holidays. So, um, yeah. So for us, the next couple months are all about that. Like, just kind of getting through that, and then yeah, we're working on some new things for next year. So yeah, we'll I think we've pretty much every, geez, I want to say every year since probably 2015, we've had a new product, and yeah, we'll continue, we'll continue to evolve our, rangefinders.
Fine.
The
Yeah.
yeah, the NX10 is about 18 months in now, so it'll have a,
I mean,
it'll
still the
have a,
9 too. I mean, the 9's been around for
Mhm.
3 years. Three
Yeah, we
years.
do, and we do sell. Yeah, we'll keep that. Or we actually, like, we kind of redesigned the
Redesigned
NX9.
it. It looks different than the old one. I have the old one. Well,
Yeah,
I have
we
the new
try.
one
Yeah,
too, but I mean, I
yeah,
originally had the original 9.
yeah. So we think about that as like, that's a good price point product. It's just nice. It's a good solid product that has all the features. It's,
Yeah.
pretty
It's
simple.
probably
So
great for Amazon too. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's a good price
yeah,
product that can compete, that's affordable,
yeah.
and perfect
So
Amazon
yeah,
product.
so we'll keep that in the line, and then yeah, continue to kind of refresh our things and add new stuff. So yeah, that's kind of our overall strategy, is just to kind of continue to yeah, kind
All
of make things that we like, and make things we
It's
want to
cool,
use. So
man. I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy. Like I never like knew the whole story. I knew I heard parts of the story, but like I didn't hear like I didn't know any of that stuff about like the your training aids and trying to figure all that. I gotta know that. I knew you guys met in a bar, and I knew you guys came up with the idea for a rangefinder. That's about as far as I knew that story. So I think it's really cool to like hear you. Like I don't know. That's a lot of stuff to go through before you even come up with. Honestly, like that's people don't realize that. Like you don't just buy the first product and be like, I'm gonna sell it. You know, it's gonna work. It's like, no, dude, we had like years of me trying to sell other things. You know,
Yeah,
before.
I think for most people, it's a process. It takes some time. It takes patience. Like, that's why a lot of things don't work out, right? It's like people get tired and it's not working right away. So, it also like if you start something, it's like, it's probably not gonna, go the way your first vision of things goes.
Your
Like,
iteration is not gonna
yeah,
be the
this is
final
not what we
iteration.
had in mind when we first started. So just kind of you figure out maybe something could work and you iterate on it and like, hey, this is not working. Let's try something different. So your first idea is never gonna, usually be the one that, ends up being a good one. So
That's what makes you hungry though, too, right? Because you make your first one, you're all excited about it, and then you're ready to make V2 because you're like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this, and then you want to make
yeah,
V2, then you want to make V3, and then you're like, I think that's the fun part, I would say, right? It's just the
it is. Yeah, no, it is fun. It's fun for us too because we really like golf and we play golf and we can use these things. So like if we were making something for, let's say we're making, pickleball products and we didn't really care about pickleball, I'd be like, all right, this is, somewhat interesting. But the fact that
widget.
like,
At that point, it's a
these are,
widget, right? It doesn't even
yeah,
matter.
these are
Like you're not
things you get
passionate
to,
about it.
yeah, get to use and try. And like, we get to be our own customers and go out and like, when we test things, like we can tell like, hey, this is not gonna work. This is not right because like, we play golf all the time and like, this is just not going to be good. So let's fix this. Versus like, not having a clue. Like if you're making software for, some company, like you probably have no idea what their day-to-day is like. So you're like, you have no idea if that's good software.
Yeah, right away, like, oh, no one's ever gonna use that, or like, I would never
Yeah.
like that's the first thing you ask yourself, would I ever use that? No, that thing's stupid. Like I've done that lots of times. Like people will send me like, hey, I want to send you this whatever. And I'll look at it, I'm like, that's stupid. No one's gonna buy that. Like I just like no, sorry. Like I mean, like I'm not interested. I'm not trying like
Yeah.
a jerk. Just like no one. That's not a product. No one needs that product, dude. Like
Yeah, that's and that ends up happening. Yeah, that happens with us as well. So we, it doesn't always go,
scrap it. You're like, nope, not doing that. Next thing.
doesn't always go amazing.
So where can people find you?
Find me. I mean, they can find
Well, not you, but like your brand. I mean, I guess you can Google Clay Hood, you can find him pretty quick, I bet. But
me personally, I'm not very active on the Twitters or the Instagrams or any of those things. So I'm not all that. You'd have to come to my office to find me, and I will.
You're too busy, man. You got too much going on.
But no, you go to precisionprogolf.com. So that's where we are. You get all the info you need there. We're on Amazon. We're in stores. We're in Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy. Most of the golf shops. So but our website can kind of guide you to anywhere you need to go, or get your information on anything you need to know.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Precision Pro. Like I said, my brand has grown alongside you guys. Like I've done like the NX7, the NX9, the NX9 was it the Pro they called it or something after that? The NX10. Like I know your products, the Ace. What was the other one that was like that was the gray one? I can't think of the name of it right now. It was gray.
Oh, the R1.
R1.
Yeah,
NX10. It's like I know your products. Like it's cool to see you guys like evolve each one. It's gotten better and better and better and better. And I remember my first review the NX7, I was like, and the NX9, I was like, oh, it's a really, really good product. And that video has a ton of views. Honestly, my old NX7 video on YouTube, that was like 4 years ago, and it still has a ton of views. So it's like,
cool.
I mean, then Clay had to go freaking make the NX9. People were quit looking for the NX7 unless they want to find like a Wayback Machine or something. But
keep updating, keep going new. So
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and I will see you guys in the next episode.